Hello and a very warm welcome to another edition of Talking Germany, the show where we do just that. And my guest today is a woman who is quite simply typically German. And here she is, Sezen Tatlici. Sezen, thank you very much for joining us here on Talking Germany.
Thank you, Peter, for inviting me.
Great to have you here. Now, you will be asking yourselves, I'm sure, why I am emphasising the fact that Sezen is typically German. And the answer to that question is that she is the person behind an organisation that is called, she's nodding, yeah? The organisation is called precisely that, Typically German. And we'll be finding out more very, very shortly. Now, let me tell you, Sezen is a remarkable young woman in many ways, and I'm sure it's going to be fascinating to hear about her life, her work and her travels. But Sezen, first question. I've got to ask you, this organisation of yours, Typisch Deutsch, they say in Germany, yes. Typically German, why did you set it up?
I think it's very important to set a positive example for the German society, because we had this very bad example of Sarrazin, who wrote a book about... Yeah, very racist book, I must say. And I was very sad about that.
Let's just explain this. Because you've mentioned already a very controversial figure here in Germany, Thilo Sarrazin, who was a member of the executive board of the German Federal Bank, the Bundesbank.
Yes.
He was a social democrat politician. He came out with a book...
Correct.
...that you say angered you.
It angered me, and more of that, it was sad for me to read these kind of things, because what he said was like, Turkish and Arabic people are in no use of this society, and we don't need them, and they're all dumb, stupid, and also all they do all day is just, to fabricate little small children with headscarves. Yeah. You know, really making people feel like there's no use for anybody of Turkish or Arabic origin to be here in Germany. So I was very saddened, or it was a very sad event for me to realize that also a lot of people in German society agree with what he said. So I was like...
The book was the most popular book in the whole history of federal Germany, of post-war Germany. Yeah.
A very sad fact to say about that was the only book that was sold more was Mein Kampf from Hitler.
OK. And you were so angered by this, you said, I need to do something about this. Correct. You set up your organisation, Typically Germany. What does it stand for?
As you can see with our logo, which is like the German flag as well, I think everybody knows that Germany is not a country that is very much, I think, not very comfortable with wearing a flag, and also with having any kind of positive feeling towards being German.
Patriotism.
Patriotism.
People have for a long time been uncomfortable with patriotism. Germans.
Yeah, because it's all the time, you know, people try to make it seem like it's always, if you're a patriot, you agree with Hitler and with the Nazis and all that, what they did, which is not the case. You know, you have to be fine, and you have to be comfortable with your own country and with being German. And that's not only for the new Germans, as I call myself, but also for the old Germans, as we call them, for the people who were born and raised here and also been living here for decades. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to give a positive light to this being German, and also positive light of Germany, because Germany is such a wonderful country. We have such a great structure, and in helping other people when they need help, in the health system or socioeconomic problems and all these kind of things. So I think there's so many good things here that we need to actually dig out and also put a light on, and that's what we do.
OK, great stuff. First impressions there from Sezen and her organisation, Typically German. And we're going to begin now with the next report with some typical Germans.
Ich heiße Martin Jon und ich bin typisch deutsch.
Mein Name ist Abdullah Ince und ich bin typisch deutsch.
Ich bin Pastor Joshua und ich bin typisch deutsch.
Sezen Tatlici founded the Typisch Deutsch, or Typically German Multicultural Association, in 2010. In the wake of a polemical debate about integration, Tatlici decided to take a stand. She gathered together a group of her friends, all children of immigrants, who, like Tatlici, grew up in Berlin. After finishing high school and getting a degree in business, she spent some time working in the US. But Tatlici is a true Berliner and loves her Schöneberg neighborhood.
I spent my childhood here, and I still know all the kids running around here. It's a wonderful feeling. I love living here, definitely. Schöneberg is a great place. Berlin is a lovely place, and Germany is a very lovely place.
Tatlici says that even if your family has an immigrant background, if you were born here, you are a member of German society. She thinks and feels like a German, even though she's not always seen as one.
You don't notice that you might look different. You go to school and so forth, and one day someone comes up to you and says that you look different. Or they let you know that you're different somehow. But for me it was always clear. This is where I belong. It was obvious, and I never gave it much thought.
Tatlici has a soft spot for children and young people. They're Berlin's future. That's why her association visits schools and talks about what being German and a member of German society really means.
No one is really paying attention to these kids. Showing them, no matter where they come from, no matter who their parents are, they have to free themselves of all that and find their own way.
What is typically German after all? Is it where you grow up, your identity, a sense of social responsibility? Tatlici's association aims to take on these questions and show that being typically German is much more diverse than some would believe.
Well, Sezen, before we talk about your organisation, Typically German, I'd like to talk about you personally, just a wee little bit, about your family. Tell us about your family.
First of all, I love my family.
It's a good start.
It's the rock of my life. I can't live without my family. I was born to I say workers' family. They're not academics, and they always emphasized the importance of education. So they were always, helping me to go a step further in my educational career.
And you were born in Germany?
I was born and raised in Germany, in Berlin.
And your parents, were they born in Germany or where?
My grandmother came here, and then my mother was like 6 years old when she got here. So my mother speaks perfect. Yeah, she has no accent whatsoever. So, and my father came here when he was like 20 years old. So, for him, it's been for many years now his hometown, and we are a family of 4 children now. I'm the eldest child, which is pretty hard job.
Responsibility, yeah,
it is a pretty hard job.
Sezen, you talked about the importance of education. You went to school here in Germany.
Correct.
What was that like?
The first 6 years, I say primary school was awesome. I loved it because my teacher was always helping me to go further and was always helping all of us to feel how nice it is, how wonderful it is to learn something. But afterwards, when I came to gymnasium to do my
the grammar school level, the high school level.
Yeah, the high school level. Yeah. It was pretty hard for me because the teachers always used to make me feel, or used to tell me that I will never finish my high school in order to go to college afterwards.
I'm very surprised.
Now that I've been hearing this from so many people, I'm not very surprised about that anymore because there's so many people who are telling me that they heard the exact same things, even though they had awesome grades, like just A's and B's, like they say, and
So this is interesting because in the report we see that with your organisation you actually go into the schools and you talk to the kids about the problems and the issues that they're confronted with. What are those problems in a concrete sense? So what you're saying is your case, as it were, was typical for what was happening to the youngsters around you.
On the one hand, it was typical. On the other hand, I had a little bit of help of my parents, of course, because they speak perfect German, and they they were always, as I said, they recognized the importance of education, and they always had high expectations on a person. And I think that's exactly the point. If you have high expectations on a person will live up to those expectations, and it's the same opposite as well. If you have low expectations, the person will live down to them. And that's what we see in the school. Because the teacher comes into this classroom, sees like 30 children, and is also a little overwhelmed by all these things, new cultures and all these new things. And I think
it can be a tough assignment.
Definitely, definitely. I'm not in favor of, always blaming somebody. I don't like to blame the press or the media or the parents or the teachers or anybody, because I think everybody is human, and they also have mistakes, and we need to talk about them, and we need to also look for the future, what we can change.
But when you talk about the future, and when you talk about change, just tell me what would be the main thing that could be done to move things in the right direction.
One main thing is that we need to help our teachers, strengthen our teachers in order to be prepared for the day-to-day life, and also in order to be prepared to help children with socioeconomic problems, no matter what their origin is, because this is what we have right now as a problem in Germany. And also the second thing is we need to help our children to recognize, to feel, and to understand who am I as a person. What is my strength? What is my weakness? Where do I have to go? What is my profession? And what is my purpose in life? Yeah. And this is what our educational system is missing at this moment.
Important points. I really think so. Now, this whole debate about what is and what isn't typically German is something that Germany's president, Joachim Gauck, has talked about at length. Let's listen to what he had to say about the link between Germany's recent history and the ongoing debate on integration.
Wer das 20. Jahrhundert bilanziert,
anyone who reviews the 20th century can't escape the realization that the most inhumane crime in history was planned and executed in typically German fashion. And the later profound crises about German identity were also typically German, always linked with a struggle for self-reassurance. And then we had the long years when a communist dictatorship existed alongside a democracy, when a cruel and degrading wall divided our country. Anyone who wants to understand that which is typically German in a useful and fruitful way also needs to take a look at the history that has shaped us. A history that is a burden, but one that can also be a source of strength. When it comes to a flourishing society, is that which is typically German an asset or a liability? And what does being typically German mean in a country with a growing diversity? When it comes to integration, we risk accusations of either glossing over problems or creating divisions. It would seem that it is typically German to fear the loss of whatever it is that is typically German and have the desire to assert it all the time. Let us overcome this fear by debating openly.
Some very big questions being asked there by Joachim Gauck. Let me ask you what your general response is to what he had to say there.
I think Joachim Gauck is a great president, and I feel like he's a person of big emotions, and I love that because I think that's what we need in Germany.
He connects.
Yeah, he connects to the people, which is very important, definitely. And I think he's right. In terms of this debate that we're having, I call it's a society debate, but people always, refer to it as integration debate. I really...
You're doing this?
Yeah, I hate that word, and I'm not fine with that word.
Why do you hate the word?
Integration means that there's a homogenic cycle of people, and it's a closed cycle, a circle, and I'm outside, and I need to, do something in order to get in. Which is not the case.
You need to prove your credentials to get inside the group.
One thing is we never had this homogenic circle of people in Germany, never, ever. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is the circle is not closed. It's an open kind of thing that you cannot even grasp what it is. And also, I don't need to do anything in order to be inside of it. I am also already a part of it. So this is what my problem with that word integration is. So this is where I disagree with him.
What's your alternative concept to the concept of integration? Because for so long here in Germany, people talked about, first of all, everybody who was non-German, whatever that was an Ausländer, was a foreigner.
Yeah.
And then people said, OK, let's talk about assimilation, integration, and we decided integration is the better word. Then we decided that people who are have got other roots,
migrational backgrounds,
are called Migranten in German, migrants, members of immigrant communities.
Correct.
What do you call yourself? What do you want to be called? Where do you want to go?
I think it's very hard to connect with those kind of words because nobody wants to be an outsider. Nobody wants to be left outside. So, especially for me, I was born and raised here. So I don't understand why people would call me a migrant. I am German, and I think I am a new German. I'm a new kind of German. So right now, I refer to myself as being a new German. And I think it's very important for the society to understand that, for the new German society to understand that they're new Germans, and also for the old German society to understand that all the other people who look different, what we think is different, but it's just the same thing because everybody has the same kind of problems in their life that they're facing, just for the normal human beings, as you can say.
I'm with you all the way on this new German thing. I'm a bit of a new German myself, I'd have to say. I'm one of those as well. Do you, as a new German, want to become an old German? Is that a natural process? Is that somewhere where you want a path you want to go down?
I think it's hard to say. That what you're referring to is the principle of assimilation, and I think. There is no problem with assimilation. And I don't have a problem with it. I think if a person really wants to do that, and if a person wants to have an old German name and wants to be blonde and blue-eyed and whatever, it's fine. They should do that. But nobody should be forced to do that. This is what my problem is with that kind of principle. Myself, I don't want it that way because I was born into a family which has Turkish and Arabic origin. So I have all these three cultures. You have
very, very broad cultural roots.
Definitely. And all these three cultures are inside of me. And I definitely love and appreciate them. And they are a part of me all the way and everywhere I go.
There's one thing I've got to get you to comment on because it's very important. What has been happening in Germany in the last year or so is we've had terrible revelations about a far-right, a neo-Nazi terrorist trio based in eastern Germany. The situation only became clear in the last year or so, but they went on a killing spree. That's how it's been described here in Germany. From 2000 to 2007, they murdered 9 members of the immigrant community.
Of the new German community.
Of the new German community. Fine.
Right.
It shook me. It shocked me. What impact did it have on you? This is a huge setback.
You can just... I'm overwhelmed. Negatively overwhelmed by what happened, of course. And it's shaking me just to think about that because my father could be one of those people who were killed. And this is why it was so emotional for me to think about what happened. And also, not only that they were murdered by far-right people, extremist people, also that they were accused of being criminals, or they were accused, or their wives were accused of killing them.
The victims.
The victims, which is like, I was so shocked about all these things. And also now what comes to light is that people are trying to, trying to cover what happened and not really bringing to light all the details, which is sad and which is not my understanding of democratic society that I live in. So I think this is a very crucial point that we're talking about right here because I love this country and I have a vision for my country, which I think a lot of politicians are lacking, or all of our politicians are lacking. And this vision also means that these things can happen, which is very bad that it happens. But if it happens, it is our obligation to go there
interrupt you because
and open it up.
There was a memorial ceremony for the victims.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah.
Angela Merkel gave an address.
Yeah, correct.
Was that a useful contribution? Because you're saying you're not happy with what the politicians had to say. For me, it seemed like an important moment in German politics.
I separated from what's happening to uncover the events. I think what Merkel did was a huge step. And she's showing a lot of emotions by doing this, as a woman who is not very emotional, as we know. And she's my chancellor, and I am proud that she went there and she took the chance to apologize to the families. Because that was a moment, I have to tell you, that even me, I was so emotionally overwhelmed that I had to cry, because I knew some of those victims, and I talked to actually one daughter of one of the victims, and I know that they were emotionally touched by that too, because that is a sign of showing you are a member of my society. I am your chancellor too, and I am sorry about what happened to your father. And this is a very important point. But also, on the other hand, you know, on the one hand, Merkel did so many great things that day. But now, uncovering the story, you find all these very dirty and bad things happening, where people shred documents and all these kind of things.
Yeah, the investigation has been flawed and troubled.
Yeah. And this is bad.
But thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to stay on our theme now. We're going to take a different course. Hansel and Gretel, Snow White, Cinderella, and my favourite, I'm not sure that's the right word, Little Red Riding Hood, and many more. I'm talking, of course, about the fairy tales collected by the Brothers Grimm. They are undoubtedly typically German too, or are they? Let's have a look.
Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. Cinderella, who does become a princess in the end. Hansel and Gretel, who survive their evil stepmother's plot to get rid of them. These are the world-famous characters who feature in German fairy tales. But are they really German, or secret imports? What we do know is that the stories were compiled by two brothers, Jakob and Wilhelm Grimm. The brothers decided to write down fairy tales which were passed on by word of mouth from generation to generation. But they often found the original tales too gruesome. So they tweaked them here and there. The idea, as they wrote themselves, was that the fairy tales should also contain valuable messages. Good should triumph over evil, and justice and decency over wealth and power. The reason why so many people think fairy tales are German is because of the typically German attributes that went into collecting them: diligence and perseverance. The Grimms wrote down 200 stories. Frenchman Charles Perrault, also a collector of fairy tales, managed a mere 8. The Grimms, meanwhile, took them as they were and added more than a pinch of morality.
You grew up reading the fairy tales, the Grimm fairy tales, or they were read to you? I'm not sure. Tell us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were read to us when we were little. My parents always used to think that it's very important, you know, to also be a part of the German society and reading these kind of things, and also having cassette tapes where they being read to you. So yeah, I'm familiar with them.
And what about other fairy tales from the Arabic roots, the Turkish roots that you've been telling me about? Well, yeah.
You know, to be completely honest, not so much. Not so much, because my mother was also raised here. You know, she gave me when she was 6 years old, and so it was more of the German thing. So I would also say that my German is exceptionally good. It's just my mother tongue, and my Turkish is not as well as that. So I think that's also one of the main reasons, because my mother read to us in German.
I'd like to come back to something that I've been thinking about, because we were talking about this terrorist, this neo-Nazi trio, and you were telling me about your emotions surrounding that. And we also listened to what the German president, Joachim Gauck, had to say. I think he said something, I think the line was, he described the Nazi crimes. He said they were the most inhuman crimes in human history. Yeah, he talked about how that's a great burden for Germans and Germany. Yeah, and you've said this is a country that you belong to fully, that you share in completely. Do you share? Because I'm coming from the Grimms now, because the Grimms they cast a light on the very dark side of the German personality. Do you share that burden for all the darkness that people also associate with Germany?
I have to share it.
You have to. You don't have to. I mean, there would be other people in your place who would say, it's got nothing to do with me.
I don't think that's a democratic way of looking at the society. Because if you want to be a part of the society, if you want to create the future of the society, you need to understand the past. And you also need to be in peace with the past. So if I would just sit here and say, I don't care about anything that happened in the past, I just want to look at the future, it will never go right. And you will never be able to take the majority of the German people with you in creating the future. So I think it's crucial to also talk about the past and also understand what happened and to make peace with it. I think a lot of people did not make their peace with it yet. And this is why we also have problems in this society debates or integration debates, as people call it.
Sezen, for one so young, you are so wise, yeah?
Oh, my God, thank you. I never heard that before.
I want to go back to the German schools. When you go into German schools, do you have the impression that the kids you're talking to are growing up on the Grimm's fairy tales or on something very different?
You know, I know where you're going, and I don't think...
Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
The thing is, times are changing. So people are not really very much into fairy tales. You know, the digitalization is coming into play, and people are faced with different kinds of day-to-day lives that we had like 30 years ago or 25 years ago when I was a child. So I think... yeah, they don't. Of course, they have literature, German literature in schools and all this, but they're not so much familiar with fairy tales and all these old things because they see it as old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so, yeah, it's like old things, and we need to go with our, you know, smartphones, and we need to know what Facebook is going with and all these kind of things. So times are changing, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just something that we need to notice and that we need to go with also.
I've never been to Mannheim. I've never been to Jungbusch. Have you been there?
I've been to Mannheim, yeah.
You've been to Mannheim, yeah?
I've been traveling a lot due to my job. And
okay, yeah. In the report, we heard that that the district, Jungbusch, in Mannheim, and I wrote it down quickly, is vibrant, edgy and hip. Some other people would say, looking at that report, it's a ghetto.
Yeah.
Does Germany have ghettos?
Definitely we do. And I think it's bad that we're...
You surprise me constantly, because there's a lot of people here in Germany who say, oh, no, we don't have ghettos. Yeah?
I mean, the problem is, what are you referring to as a ghetto? Because ghetto, when you look it up, you know, on Wikipedia or anything, it says it's just a place where a lot of people from the same ethnic or religious background live together. So we do have ghettos. I also think that it's very bad that we always force people of socioeconomic, you know, bad socioeconomic backgrounds to live in a certain place. Yeah. Because myself, I'm an academic. I used to live in Dubai. I used to live in the United States. Still, when I call somewhere to get a flat or an apartment, people, you know, sometimes they just hang up the phone, or they tell me it's not available anymore because they hear my name is Turkish.
Name.
Yeah. So I think we force the people to live in those neighborhoods, and then we don't, we don't create opportunities like youth clubs, or even the education in the schools that are in those neighborhoods is so bad that it is our obligation as a German society to put even more money into those kind of neighborhoods and into those kind of schools in order to help those people grow, like we have in this Rütli school in Germany, in Berlin here.
A much discussed school here in Berlin.
Much discussed school. Yeah. Everybody was talking about it as...
Problem school number one in Germany.
And you had very bad pictures also, like chairs out of the window and all these kind of things. And now... a lot of people went there and gave a lot of money, invested a lot of money there. And now it's like an elite school. Everybody wants to go there. And it's very interesting to see.
There's a lesson for us all there, isn't there?
Definitely.
We've got to talk about Kanaka talk, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your... where should I start, yeah?
First of all, I love rap. We just...
Okay, you love it. Is there a relationship between Kanaka talk and rap?
I don't know, but I just heard the guys rapping, so I was like, I love rap and I love hip-hop. And I think what's very important is it is our obligation as a society, again, to help all of our kids, no matter what their origin is and no matter what their socioeconomic background is, in order to help strengthen their personality and find their purpose in life. And when we do that, they will have a perspective. They will understand where their life is going, and they will understand the vision. So they will actively pursue that vision and actively go there. So there would not be this kind of neighborhoods anymore if we would help our kids to strive and also to go somewhere.
Do you know what? One thing that I see very often in Berlin these days is that, 10 years ago even, in Berlin, I would be sitting opposite Turkish, Persian youngsters, whatever, Kurdish youngsters in the underground, yeah? And they would be talking half German, half Turkish or whatever, a non-German language. And there was a sense of being ill at ease about that. And the last couple of years, the last several years, I see people who are suddenly beginning to have this huge confidence because they've realised, I can't just speak German.
Yeah.
I can speak another language and another language on top.
Correct.
I have all these cultures. What a bonus this is.
And this is what we're trying to do also. We're trying to make them understand you go from deficits to benefits. You understand people are trying to make you feel like you have a deficit because you speak two languages, but it's not. It's definitely a benefit for your life. And I think it's very important. And I don't mind those people talking Kanako language or even talking this mix of Turkish and German, because I do the same thing. And I think what's important is you have to know where at which place you talk what. If you're at work, you speak German in a most professional and wonderful way. If you're at home, you can mix both languages. And also, if I'm in a place like this, I speak English because, we're talking English here. So I don't think that it's a problem that people are mixing languages and also having this Kanak talk with each other.
Nope.
I have to say, I also sometimes use it.
Ooh, there she is. It's out in the open now. Yeah, Sezen has been talking about the fact that she's into, as I am when I'm not wearing this gear, I'm into hip and rap. I like it quite a lot. But we're going to move on. We're going to stay on music, though. We're going to move on to musicals, because they're very popular here in Germany. The snobs in the German broadsheets often look down on musicals as somehow a low form of popular culture, but people love them. And after the US and the UK, Germany is one of the global leaders in the musical market.
Scorned by many critics, but adored by millions of Germans, musicals are booming. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats is a classic. Even 30 years on, the Singing Cats are still touring Germany. The combination of song, dance and dialogue is what makes musicals special. Experts say they are a very democratic form of entertainment which can be enjoyed by people without a background in music. During the past decade, Germany has joined England and the US as a major producer of musicals. Nowadays, there's even a blockbuster musical about German history. Hinterm Horizont is a story of a love affair that transcended the division of Germany. It premiered over a year ago in Berlin and features hit songs by the grand old man of German rock, Udo Lindenberg. The audiences love it.
Musicals? You like them?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do. I love them.
Why?
I'm very much into music. Music is my life, I can say.
Music is your life?
Yeah. Music. Yeah, I cannot imagine one day without music in my life. And it doesn't matter what kind of music. Yeah, I'm very much into R&B and hip-hop, but I love Arabic music, Turkish music too, and I love all kinds of music. And musicals is, for me, the perfect match of, I think, cultural thing like theater and also combining music. So I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you told me I mean, I'm going to reveal your age now. I know it's not...
Please. Oh, dude.
28 years old.
29 now.
29,
Yep.
OK. Yeah, my research has let me down, yeah? OK, you're 29 years old, and you said to me, yeah, I used to do hip-hop dancing.
Yeah.
When was this used to? It can't have been that long ago.
Yeah, it was before I went to the USA, when I was here.
Yeah.
So I did that I started when I was 8 years old, I think, till 18 or something, 10 years with my sisters, and I loved it a lot. I'm very much into dancing, music, and all these kind of things, like I said. And I don't understand these critics talking about musicals because, or maybe I do understand them because it's so
You're talking
easy.
about the snobs I mentioned in the intro, yeah?
Yeah, correct, because I think it's so easy to look down upon people.
Yeah, in Germany, there's a real divide. There's high culture and there's low culture, and that's not really always very helpful,
to be completely honest, when people talk to me, they always think that I'm this high culture because I'm an academic and I used to live in the United States. But I'm trying to make them understand there is no such thing. So if I'm an academic, doesn't mean that I have to go by your rules, what you think is suitable for me. I love that, so I'm going with it. And if I want to talk, connect, talk, I do it. And if I want to walk around in whatever slacks, I'll do it. So it's just things are changing as well. And this is what I also love about Typisch Deutsch. We're trying to open up those paradigms and also create new ones, positive ones.
The many facets of Sezen Tatlici. This is good. Yeah, but you've mentioned several times, and it's one thing I did want to ask you about. You lived in the States for like 2 years, more or less.
One and a half, yeah.
Okay. And very often, here at DW TV, for example, I have my American colleagues, my British colleagues, they're often saying to me, you know, we're better at building multicultural societies than you are in Germany. And I often sit there and I think, oh, I'm not really sure about that. But the Americans, for example, they say, we know how to do a melting pot society and you don't. What's your response to that, having lived in both cultures?
I think this is the reason, or this is exactly the biggest motivation for me, because I love the USA. I lived there and I saw so many great things about how people are melting together there and people just refer to themselves as being American. And I think the main point, which I said before, which is missing in Germany, is what the American society has, a vision for the country. When you hear President Obama speak, he will always speak about my America is. I dream of an America. The America for my children should be, for my daughters. So, and you never hear a German politician speak that way because they do not have this kind of vision for our country. And what we need to do as Typisch Deutsch e.V., also giving this positive energy and impact to the society, is to create this positive vision for all of us. A new vision so we can all pursue that. We can all go there and help also all of our society and also help our politicians, because I always think the politicians are kind of back from where the society is. The society is always progressing further than the politicians are.
It's interesting because you've mentioned your parents, you've mentioned how they brought you up, you've mentioned that they are the rock of your life. Yeah,
definitely.
They've done a good job. You've got a lot of serious capacities. Yeah, and you're talking about politics. You know, why talk about politics? Why not join in? Why not, you know, become a politician yourself?
That's an awesome question, because my mother always used to tell me that you're great at this, and you know you can talk to people and all this. But I think I have a very bad understanding of politics because I think when you go to politics, politics change you, and if you do lobby work, you will change politics. And I do lobby work for positive lobby. Yeah. For the people and for the society, because I love it.
OK, point taken.
Awesome.
We're going to do a different Talking Germany quiz this time around, Sezen. We're going to. I'm not going to give you either or. I'm going to give you a characteristic, a trait that could be possibly German or not. You tell me whether it is German. Yeah. Germans are punctual.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. German.
Germans are helpful to strangers.
Typically German, yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
That sounded like 6 out of 10. Germans are easygoing.
So much.
Germans have good beer.
I don't drink beers, so I would not know.
OK, Germans have good food.
Have good food from other countries.
Germans drive fast.
I do too.
One more. Germans are good dancers.
I know a lot of them who do.
You are a new German, and I bet you're a good dancer. Yeah. That's all we've got time for with our charming and typically German guest, Sezen Tatlici. If you'd like to find out more, then do read my blog on the Talking Germany website. And if you've enjoyed the show as much as I have, then do come back next week. Until then, bye-bye and tschüss.